Hey everyone, welcome to the Darksliders weekly news update for the week of July 7th, 2015. Here we're going to discuss all the news from the past week leading up to today, kind of go over some of the big stories, what we thought of them, what's kind of going on, just to give you guys a good roundup of the big events from last week. So without further ado, here is the news for the past week. I don't know really anything about this at all, but you seemed very irritated about it. And that is Red Ash. So, what is this?
Okay, Red Ash is a good idea, and that is it. All right, so Keiji Inafune, I don't know if that's his first name. He's the guy who claims to be the father of Mega Man. He helped develop Mega Man. He actually helped produce a lot of the Mega Man games. He never actually created any of them. So he wasn't actually a developer, he was a producer. So he basically got the funding for it. And a lot of times he was like the idea man, but he never
Yeah, the
really,
behind the scenes stuff without actually doing any work.
well, not necessarily not doing any work, but
That was
he
probably
wasn't he's not a developer, he's a producer. So he left Capcom, he said, because Capcom wouldn't let me do what I wanted. And to be clear, he's actually produced some like really cool games. Like he pushed Lost Planet on Xbox 360. He did Onimusha. He did Dino Crisis. He did Mega Man. Like he really did produce like the really good Capcom games. So he did the Mighty Number Nine Kickstarter, where it's basically Mega Man. It was just a new Mega Man game.
Yep.
And I have my own reservation about the Mighty Number Nine Kickstarter. I personally don't like it. I'm not going to get mad about this one because I've been tired of just being kind of mad about it because I think he sort of swindled people with over promising, and I
Isn't that
think,
what Kickstarter's for?
but I think you can overpromise if you're not experienced because you just don't know.
Fair point.
You think you're going to make the next best game ever because you are really passionate about it, and you're like, this game, we're going to try our best. Whether or not that happens, yeah, whether or not in the end you actually release a good game is still a crapshoot, which is why I'm not a huge fan of Kickstarter. But he basically did the Mighty Number 9 one, saying, first of all, this is a new Mega Man game, which I will say they definitely delivered on. It is a new Mega Man game, but they had sort of promised an art style that was just not apparent in the final version of that game at all.
Okay.
They had released some concept art, and people go, "Oh, well, it was just concept art." It's like, no, they were using it as key art to sell a game. That's different than just concept art, where concept art can be used for like a number of things, and a lot of times we don't see concept art that goes into games. It kind of stays hidden because it's just supposed to be internal.
Yeah.
But the concept art they released for that was clearly like they're saying like this is what the game will look like. This is going to be the feel, the style, the detail that we're going to put in the game, and the released version. Just looking at latest trailers and stuff like that, I'm sure it plays well. Like that, I don't doubt. It just does not look like what they had promised. So, in comes Red Ash, and Red Ash is a play on the words "re-dash." And what "re-dash" means is that Mega Man Legends series in Japan is called Mega Man Dash. So this is going to be Mega Man Legends 3. And Brad, you never actually played Mega Man Legends, did you?
Nope.
Okay. Brad's not going to be talking a lot for this one.
I have no clue why you're upset with this, and I really still don't fully understand what's going on with this. So
Yeah.
you're up.
Okay. So, Mega Man Legends. I guess a lot of people actually haven't played Mega Man Legends because it was kind of a game that's beloved, but it didn't sell a whole lot. Mega Man Legends is basically it's like Mega Man Ocarina of Time. It's a 3D action adventure game where you explore dungeons, you upgrade your character, and you
What?
take down huge bosses. Yeah, no, the game's awesome. And like,
That's not what Mega Man is.
no, it's not. And that's why it's awesome. I think 2D Mega Man's okay, but Mega Man Legends is just a whole other beast. Like one of the first bosses you fight in Mega Man Legends, I guess it's the second boss. This was mind blowing on PS1. You run around a city that's slowly being destroyed by 3 different robots that are all trying to kill you and running through, and they're all like zipping through the streets. You have to take them out one by one, and they can gang up on you and do like team attacks and stuff like that. It's a really 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 good series, and so Mega Man Legends 1 and 2, and there's another game called Tron Bond that you can get on PSN right now, and you should. It's a spin-off game of Mega Man Legends that features the main villain and then you play as her. And Mega Man Legends nobody's really a bad guy. They're just kind of like Saturday morning cartoon villains, and you play as the main girl villain. And you should get that on PSN right now. And Brad, actually, you should buy that right now. I think it's like
Right now?
$10. I think it's actually
Right now?
$5. Huh? Right now.
Right now?
Yes.
All right, hang on a second. I'll be back.
All right. So enter Mega Man Legends 3. So before Keiji Inafune left Capcom, they had basically started their own sort of Kickstarter for Mega Man Legends 3. And the idea was basically Kickstarter, where they were going to get fan input on the game. They were going to hold contests where your concept art might make it in the game. People would actually vote on which characters designs they want in the game. And basically they ran it like a Kickstarter. And how that all ended up was that Mega Man Legends is a small game, and Capcom basically says like, well, we didn't get the fan input we wanted, and so we're going to cancel Mega Man Legends 3 and just never do it. And that's actually one of the reasons that Inafune left, was over the cancellation of Mega Man Legends 3. And a lot of people get mad at game cancelizations every once in a while, but Mega Man Legends 3, they actually had footage of it. They actually
it was running like in-engine, like already up and going.
Yeah, like they actually had like a working prototype that you could download and play. That they actually never eventually released. They actually didn't release to the public. But you could see it. Like it was a real game. It wasn't a real game, but it was in development at that point.
Further along than just kind of the concept art of stuff that normally gets killed.
Yeah, exactly. It was something that was tangible. Now then, enter Red Ash or Redash, which is I guess the play on it. This game is basically Mega Man Legends 3. He's doing the same thing he did with Mighty Number 9, where he's like, okay, I can't do Mega Man, but I can do not Mega Man, and this is not Mega Man Legends 3. So actually, if you look at the concept art, not the main character, but one of the side characters is a carbon copy of the main villain from Mega Man Legends. With like he has spiky hair and red glasses, and it's like the exact same. So they're basically saying, okay, this is Mega Man Legends 3.
Yeah.
But they made a really shitty Kickstarter. And I think he's doing the same thing he did with Mighty Number 9, where he's overpromising on basically nothing. He doesn't know how this game's going to go. He doesn't know how it plays yet. He just knows, we'll just make Mega Man Legends 3. So if you look at the Kickstarter, so there's two Kickstarters. There's one for an anime, which doesn't make a lot of sense because nobody knows what Red Ash is, and they're not going to put down money for, an hour-long anime that costs millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And then the other one is the Red Ash game, which is the Mega Man Legends 3. Now the problem with this, if you look at the Kickstarter video for the Red Ash game, they don't talk about the game at all. There are half of the, I would say maybe 2/3 of the entire thing is a storyboard of a cutscene, and then a storyboard of another cutscene. And that's
you actually sent this to me, and you really didn't give me much explanation on what it was I was watching. This was just before we did the podcast. He's like, hey, I want to talk about this because I don't like this. And he sent it to me, and I think my first question was, is this a movie, or what is this? Like, why am I watching this? Because it doesn't... There's no signs of that being a game if you're unfamiliar with what it is, I feel like.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's what they're selling an idea currently, which... It's like a huge Kickstarter no-no. Like, you really shouldn't be giving to a Kickstarter if they don't have some sort of prototype working.
Yeah, I agree with that. There should be some semblance of an idea of what the final project is, what it looks like, and that it actually has some tangible existence more so than, I have this idea where you play as this, and you do this. Money, please.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what's happening. And it's basically like, I have an idea... And this is kind of like Mega Man Legends, and that's all we have to go on. They have not Mega Man, they have not Tronbon, who is the main villain girl in Mega Man Legends series, and then they have not Tronbon's dad, and then not Roll, who is the mechanic, and then they have not Servbots, who are Servbots. You actually probably have seen Servbots. You ever played Dead Rising? Yeah. Have you ever seen? You see, they're in a few Capcom games. They kind of look like Lego heads.
Oh yeah, those big in Dead Rising.
Yeah. Those are Servbots. Like those are like some of like the main kind of like the Chocobos of Mega Man Legends series, or like they're like the Moogles
and everything. Yeah, where it's in everything, but doesn't really have a same purpose or.
Yeah, well, no, I mean they actually have a purpose. They're the bad guys' minions, and they're just kind of dumb little guys who just want to work hard.
Gotcha.
And that's actually, you play as them in Tronbon. So yeah, basically, Red Ash is kind of one of those things. I think they're just sort of harping on fans of Mega Man Legends with basically like a hope and a prayer, and that's about it.
Yep.
They have the right team, but they like have nothing. They have the concept art, the concept, like what they have currently to me is something that could have been done in a week.
So essentially, you're saying your issue with this is it's just too early. Had they waited 6 months, put this up, had some kind of working footage, or at least like character models or something, totally okay with it. It's just too early.
Yeah, but to me at this point, it says like they don't even care. They're going to get their money anyway.
Yeah.
Like why get their money later when you can get it now?
Yeah. It's like the idea of Shenmue is like you already know this is going to get funded, so let's just put it up and get our money.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that's even that Inafune did with Mighty Number 9. So Mighty Number 9, when it got funded, got 4 times the amount of money that it needed. And then they ran another Kickstarter for another few $1 million. And then they screwed up like something with the physical release. I don't quite understand what happened with the physical releases, but the backers weren't getting what they were supposed to be getting.
Yeah. So it's already a guy with a shaky trail record
on Kickstarter, Kickstarter especially. And if you look at Mighty Number 9, that's a game that had like 5 to 6 times its original budget.
Yeah.
It does not look like a game that had 5 to 6 times. That doesn't look like the best version of Mighty Number 9 could possibly be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think he's just swindling people. Yeah. I feel like that could have been more of a conversation if you actually played Mega Man Legends.
Yeah, I feel like if I had some concept of what you were talking about, that would have probably.
well, you should. Okay, you know what you really should do is get Tronbon for your Vita, and then we can have a really nice discussion about Tronbon. Because I think the world of Mega Man Legends, the reason people like it is because it's such a fun like Saturday morning cartoon world, and the graphics are really really cool. They're kind of low poly, but it really works for the series, and I kind of actually hope that whatever this ends up being, it kind of keeps that sort of low poly look.
Nice. Well, I'll maybe check it out. Probably not. Anyway, so just being helpful. A couple other new things here that have been announced. This one actually came out at E3, but we got a new trailer for it this week that kind of showed you a little bit more of an idea of what it was, and that is the Trials Fusion DLC Awesome Levels Max. Which basically before all we knew was it's Trials with the unicorn and the cat. But this one kind of showed a little bit of more of what you're getting, and it looks like basically it plays the same as Trials. It's just almost like a reskin of the bike. Is kind of the impression I got.
Yeah. Actually, when I watched the trailer, I noticed a lot of art assets from the DLC.
Like the DLC packs for Fusion?
Yeah.
That have already been released?
Yeah. I thought those packs were really, really, really well done. And it was obviously put a lot of heart into them, and I think a lot of money into them, and they didn't make a lot of money. And
so this is just kind of like, well, if we put a unicorn in it, now people will buy it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that's exactly what happened. I think they're remixing and reusing a lot of the assets. I would say maybe a quarter of that trailer looked like brand new stuff, and a lot of it just looked like reworked assets from the DLC, which is fine because the game's not really about the environments and things like that.
No.
And the DLC for Trials was super cool. So I think it's going to be fun and it's going to be good, but I think if you play the DLC, you're going to see a lot of the DLC in it.
Yeah. I think it has that weird Trials atmosphere and kind of feeling to it, and I think that's what Trials does really well, is it never takes itself seriously. Like, I mean, from the music, if you go back to Trials Evolution with the rap entering over the main credit scene and just the whole rap song that goes with Trials, which is my favorite thing in the history of video games. And now you've got like this. It's goofy and it's fun, and I feel like that's what it should be.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I just keep likening it back to like Blood Dragon, but kind of toned down a bit, where it's just, you know what, we took this and we just went to a place that nobody would have thought we were going to try and go with this.
And I think there was hints of that in the DLC that like they are going to do something kind of crazy, and I'm kind of glad that now they're not even really attached to like Trials IP. Like it doesn't have to be guys on motorcycles anymore. It can just be that Trials gameplay, and let's play around with it and do something crazy with it.
Yeah. So I'm excited to get a hold of that because I think it'll just be weird and fun and goofy. And I didn't buy any of the other DLC, so it'll all be new to me.
Yeah. I guess the box cop. I'm not sure how this is going to work. I couldn't really tell if you could buy the DLC individually, or if you get it as like a mega pack that has all of the DLC.
Yeah, I don't know. they haven't released a whole lot of that kind of details. It's basically just been the 2 trailers at this point for the
Yeah,
most part.
I know the physical release will have all the DLC. I'm not quite sure how this is going to release on PSN though. But whatever this costs, I think if it's like $15 and it includes all the DLC and the main game, like it should be an instant buy. I don't know. Ooh, I don't know. Do you know how much this game costs? Did they say about that?
Just the new pack or
All of
Trials
it.
Fusion?
Yeah, well, Trials Fusion with the new pack and everything, or just the
I
new
haven't
pack.
seen any pricing details. I don't feel like they've put out a lot of details other than just it's more Trials, but now you're on a unicorn.
Yeah, which is cool. I think the pricing is going to be right. If this game's say $25, I think it's a steal. But if it's going to get in like 30s and 40s, then I think you're going to be, well, maybe you should.
Well, but you got to figure if Trials originally when it was released, what now, like a year and a half ago, was I think 20 when it was released.
Oh, was it?
I think so. Yeah, it was not a full $60 game. I want to say it was 20.
It has a box copy. That's why I'm confused.
I don't know, but I feel like I know it wasn't a full $60, so I
Mhm.
can't imagine it's selling for that much. I don't know. I would figure if you don't have Trials Fusion, I would say $30 is a fair price for this.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll say
But
that.
as like an individual DLC pack, I'm curious if they're going to go over the top with pricing or if they're going to keep it at like $10.
I don't. I got all the DLC for like $10. So,
But that's what
hoping-
I'm saying. But like this one has been. I mean, they're pushing this one a lot more. I mean, this one was on at E3 in their press conference.
Yeah.
It's a complete change up of things, so I could see them going, well, we can squeeze an extra $5-10 out of this.
Yeah, it did. It just didn't sound like a lot of extra. It just sounded like another one of those DLC packs. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious as more information comes out about it. But I think it's just going to come down to the price point.
Some more DLC that was announced this week, and this kind of goes back to what Doug was talking about with Batman Arkham Knight. They announced the full, like, not pre-order exclusive DLC,
Yeah,
which
the not
seems like
shitty
an
DLC.
odd qualifier that I'd have to use. But it's called A Matter of Family, and this one has Batgirl as the lead character. I do like that they're kind of changing up the DLC instead of just more Batman. They're adding in more of that Batman family aspect to it, just because that's, I think, a really cool component of the Batman universe. So I like that they're doing that. But you play as Batgirl, and this takes place pre-Arkham Asylum, which is kind of a cool time frame to me just because you don't really have much before that, and we've gone from Arkham Asylum to Arkham City to Arkham Knight, and it's just kind of a different point of time to reference.
Yeah, I'm actually really curious if it is pre-Arkham Asylum. Did they talk about the setting?
I haven't seen anything with the setting. I think it was just a press release that this is coming and just a couple few details about it.
Because I'm going to be really, really curious about the setting, because I can't imagine they're going to be doing an open world.
No, I mean, I could see them doing like an open world in the sense of like maybe you add on like a tiny little island to the bigger main world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like one of the Elder Scrolls did that, where every DLC pack was just like an island just off the coast.
That's good, but the problem with that is like Arkham Knight is, if this is pre-Asylum and this is pre-Oracle, it's got to be like, yeah, that's not well, okay. That might be a small spoiler.
No, because that's been a thing since like the 90s. I feel like.
Yeah. I guess
if you don't know who Batgirl is Oracle.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
depending on which iteration of Batgirl they're using, but I'm assuming it's that one.
No,
anyway.
yeah, it is Barbara Gordon. But the thing I don't quite get is like you can't just do that with this one because of the time frame difference. Like it doesn't make sense that Gotham City looks exactly the same, and it's 15 years earlier.
Huh? I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm actually really curious, because the DLC for Harley Quinn and Red Hood were just like arenas. That's all they were just arena tied to another arena tied to another arena. And I would really, really disappointed if that's the case with this one. But I also can't expect them to do a whole other city. So what are they doing?
Yeah. Huh. That's really curious. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they play that out.
It'll be more interesting to see if it's worth $40.
You were so stuck on price with Batman at this point. You should.
$40 for DLC is crazy.
Oh yeah, completely. The other kind of small possible news item that came out in the past day or two here is there was a Superman leak, quote unquote, of just kind of like a character shot, and there's a gif of Superman kind of nodding his head along with some quote stuff that looks like kind of like a character info page from one of these games. And there's rumor that this is from the Arkham Origins developer, which is WB Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Chances this is a thing?
Fake. I'm going to call it now. Calling it's a fake. That's all I got to say about it.
I don't think it's real. I don't know. Mostly it's just because I don't like Superman. I don't want.
That's not a good reason to think it's fake.
I'm going to say it's fake because I don't want it to be real.
I was going to go in detail about why it's fake, but that's good enough.
Well, you can have your reasons, which are detailed and thought out, and mine is, man, I don't like Superman. Let's not do this. So what are your detailed, thought out reasons?
Well, not detailed, thought out. I think this is... I think it's just somebody showing off that they did a character model. Like, I could see it easily being a CG student. It's kind of like the medieval thing, where it's just a model of Dan with a simple animation. This is a model of Superman with a simple animation.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, I think in the animation, the only thing that happens is he, nods his head.
Yeah, he just sort of it's like a what do you call those poses when they just idle pose? Yeah. They're sort of standing around. And that's all it is. And it's another thing where it's taken from an off-screen blurry camera, and there's also a direct feed direct feed picture of it. I think it's a good fake, but Montreal has been really quiet about it, so I don't know. It could go either way. I'm just gonna call it fake though.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it fake too.
Mm-hmm.
For much better reasons than yours.
Yeah.
So the last thing we'll get into here, and this is just kind of one of those I like when developers kind of speak up and say things, and sometimes it's just funny to me the way that they think about things. So both of these kind of go back to Nintendo's E3. So the first one I want to start with is Reggie Fils-Aimé, or however you say his last name. I can never say it right.
Fils-Aimé, I think.
Fils-Aimé, yeah. But anyway, so Metroid Prime Federation Force was announced at E3, which is a new 3DS game that everyone hated and was super pissed about.
Yeah, I think everybody hated just because it was called Metroid. Actually, it's called Metroid Prime.
Yes, it is Metroid Prime Freedom Force, and everybody wanted Metroid Prime 4, and that's definitely not this.
Mm-hmm.
But what he said, and so I think there was a petition with hundreds of thousands of signatures that Nintendo just shuts this down, all this stuff. So what Reggie said is, what the fan at home saw was something in the Metroid Prime universe that they weren't expecting. The reaction has been negative. There's no sugarcoating it. And that to me is just him going yup, you all hate this, which is interesting. But then he went on to say, this is an example where fans who aren't able to get their hands on the game may be at a bit of a competitive disadvantage. Everyone who's played what we are showing regarding Metroid Prime, they've come across really pleased. So
I think
that's kind of interesting to me.
I think this is just a case of kind of like Splatoon, where you were kind of Splatoon's kind of stupid. Yeah. And then you actually got your hands on Splatoon, and then suddenly oh wait, Splatoon isn't stupid.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what it is. And I think this is Nintendo's thing, where I feel like Nintendo a lot of times just believes our games need to be played.
Yeah.
No matter what, our games need to be played. They don't show well. You can't always pick it out in a trailer.
It's a thing with Nintendo where they don't talk about games until a year away from release. And so their games look like games that could come out today. They don't look like, when you go to E3, you're games of the future. So that's kind of that future shock of oh my god, this is what the future looks like. Well, this is Nintendo is always this is what tomorrow looks like.
Yeah, see, and I like that. And we've talked about this a little bit in our E3 podcast, of just, I like the fact that Nintendo shows off, here's what you can play by December 31st, 2015. Whereas Sony and Microsoft tend to go with, here's what you're going to play by 2018.
Yeah.
It's just kind of in my mind, I almost liken it to the Marvel Universe, where it's oh yeah, in 2020, you're going to see an Avengers 7 and a whatever movie. I don't care what I'm going to see 7 years from now. I want to see what I'm going to see now. So, I don't know. I just like that Reggie came out and was yeah, we know you all hate it. Shut up and wait to play it, and then you can yell at us. And I think especially coming off Splatoon, which I think had a very similar feeling to it, where it's the hell are you doing with this? This is stupid. You're a squid, really?
Yeah.
And if you sit down and play that game for 10 minutes and you don't love that game, you're a horrible person. That game is so much fun.
Yeah, I think that's. Although I think people are also I think the only legitimate concern that people have is that this is by the Metroid Hunters developers, and it looks like Metroid Hunters 2 and Metroid Hunters 1 was not a good game. It just wasn't. I actually played it. I
Yeah,
played and beat it, and I don't remember a lot about
that's
it.
always a good sign. The other quote that came out of Nintendo was from Mr. Iwata, who's one of the he's president of Nintendo of Japan, or
I
I
think
can't
that
remember. Like I feel like Nintendo has like 8 CEOs.
they do. Well, they do because they have like Nintendo Europe, Nintendo America,
Yeah,
Nintendo Japan.
but they all have faces, unlike like Sony and Microsoft, where it's like it's Phil Spencer and no one else. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
Iwata said, and this is just interesting to me, and it goes back to that Nintendo wanting to show stuff that you can actually play. Is he said, this is his quote: "One thing I should say about Nintendo's E3 booth is that, unlike the other booths in general, most of the visitors to our booth were smiling and actually picking up controllers and playing our games. So this is one big difference because the number of visitors to the other booths appeared to have just spent a lot of time watching game videos."
Oh my god.
Which I just think is funny because I don't feel like Nintendo really gets into this whole competitive thing that often with anybody else. They're just kind of on the side doing their own thing. And here's like just this most ridiculous quote of, "You can go over to these guys and watch the videos, or you can come here and play a video
Wait.
game."
I think that kind of shows. That's what we were saying before. I think they're. I think we were. I think this kind of shows that we were correct. That like they're more into you need to play our games before you can understand our games. While Sony and Microsoft are here's a trailer. Hopefully you understand the game. And a lot of their games are based on entirely around presentation, while Nintendo's games are entirely based around gameplay, which is good. It's a good thing. I think. And I think that they think like presentation second, but yeah, that game just kind of looks ugly, and it kind of pissed off a lot of people. I think it's kind of neat that they don't show their games until they're ready to be put in people's hands,
Yeah.
or it'll be like next month we'll show it to people. It's not quite ready right now, but in 2 months it'll be ready for press to see it and play it.
Yeah. And they're very upfront with that, and not. I don't feel like I've ever seen a Nintendo thing where it's like, this isn't really what the final game's going to look like, but we're going to pretend it's what the final game looks like. I don't really feel
Yeah.
like there's ever been an issue with Nintendo in that. Nintendo is pretty much like, yeah, this could look prettier, but this is what it is right now, so here you go. And
Mhm.
I'm thinking of like the Star Fox demo last year that everybody just
Yeah,
looked at and was like, what the hell was that?
that was a hard mistake though.
Yeah, that
Not-
was not smart, but yeah. I don't know. I just like that Nintendo just does all this weird, goofy stuff like this, and they like actually address stuff, and I just think it's funny to me.
I think it was the first time they've actually like directly like they've like that. I think that the reaction was so strong that they needed to talk about it. I mean,
Yeah.
people rag on Nintendo a lot, but I think there was a lot of ragging for them to
Oh,
finally
totally.
actually say something.
All right, that was our news for the past week here. Please make sure you check back with us throughout the week. We will have all of our other content available. Talk a little bit about some trophies. We'll talk about Dragon Age a little bit later on, and of course, our full episode will be released at the end of the week. Feel free to follow us on Twitter, Darksliders_pod, YouTube, iTunes, or anywhere else.